Welcome to Horror on the Rocks on RUE MORGUE TV. I'm Mike, you might know me from Whiskey Morgue, where I pair what I'm drinking with the horror movies that I'm watching. And today I'm pairing my go-to summer horror movies with some of these delicious canned cocktails because let's face it, the summer is all about convenience. So grab your shades, grab a cold one, and let's dive in. So in at number 5 is Summer of '84.
It's a serial killer.
Now, Summer of '84 came in right around the time as Stranger Things and also leaned into that 80s nostalgia. The story is about a bunch of boys who go missing in a small town, and our teenage lead, Davey, thinks he sees one of the missing boys in his neighbor's house. So naturally, he recruits his friends, grabs a few walkie-talkies, and begins his own investigation.
That's blood.
Davey.
Hey.
So this movie resonates with me so much because my childhood consisted of riding bikes around the neighborhood, playing manhunt with walkie-talkies in hand, and making up elaborate stories about strange neighbors. I now think I am the strange neighbor in my neighborhood.
You're gonna get caught either by Mackie or your dad.
I know I'm right about him.
That doesn't prove anything.
Are you with me?
I am pairing this with Arizona Hard Iced Tea. It turns out that nostalgia also really helps with selling booze as well, because a lot of the big liquor companies seem to be making alcoholic versions of some of our favorite childhood drinks. Growing up and riding bikes, it was essential that you had a pit stop at the convenience store to grab a drink. This was my go-to, obviously the non-alcoholic version. Now, the Arnold Palmer was good, but with the green tea, I thought I was taking in all the antioxidants. Also, do you remember when people started charging more than 99 cents for these things, yet it still had 99 cents on the can? What bullshit. All right, so it kind of reminds me of my childhood. I taste a bit of that, the green tea, the floral. It's a bit too sweet for my liking, but it does mask the alcohol, which can make that a good thing or bad thing. And overall, I kind of want to dislike it, but nostalgia sells.
Even serial killers live next door to somebody.
In at number 4 is Sleepaway Camp.
Someone is watching you.
Now, it's an obvious, campy, whodunit film. You have a bunch of foul-mouthed preteens, a bunch of 20-year-olds acting as teens in minimal clothing, and a bunch of gnarly kills. This is peak summer horror.
Someone wants to scare you to death.
Out of all these gnarly kills, my favorite has to be when poor Billy is locked away in the bathroom and stung to death by bees. So growing up, I already had this immense fear of being stung to death, because I was a big fan of the movie My Girl. But being stung to death with pants around your knees while on the shitter has to be the absolute worst. I just hope Billy was done wiping before his demise. I'm pairing this with Georgian-based spirits Bee's Knees. I know it's low-hanging fruit when it comes to the name, but Georgian-based spirits happen to be located in one of Ontario's camp capitals, Collingwood, Ontario. They really lean into this marketing and advertising around campiness and cracking one open, sitting around the fire, and sharing a drink with friends. Let's crack one open. That's strong. Okay, so off the bat, the lemon is present. It's super tart, but there's a punch of the alcohol there. The honey comes through and there is a bit of sweetness. I actually like that it's not overtly sweet. From reading on here, it says that they use natural cane sugar, and I'm a fan of like going more tart than sweet, so I am here for it. And on the finish, there's this big reveal of the juniper twig and berries that really makes this buzzworthy.
Turn it! Turn the wheel!
Oh my God!
So in at number 3 is I Know What You Did Last Summer.
When they hear over the radio that this lunatic killer's escaped from an insane asylum.
The team behind the film were super strategic in riding the wave of the resurgence of the 90s slasher, as well as openly borrowing from the film Jaws to try to create this summer blockbuster hit.
For the last year, 4 friends have kept a secret.
Are you on drugs? No.
So they borrowed the idyllic seaside town as a backdrop and even figured out a way to throw in the 4th of July parade, except they just replaced a great white shark with a pissed off fisherman who wanted to put a hook through some teens and their summer vacation. I will admit, part of this is biased because I had a huge crush on Jennifer Love Hewitt, and I will openly admit that I wrote her a love letter to her fan account. Chill, this was like 3 years ago.
What are you waiting for, huh?
I am pairing this one with Founder's Bourbon Sour. If you really want to know what I was doing last summer, I was crushing these by the pool. My brother's, of course, because I can't afford my own. So let's crack this open. Okay, I'm kind of here for this. The bourbon's there. There's like this oaky sweetness on the start, and then it moves into this like lemony, citrus, tart finish that kind of sours at the end. So this drink's sweetness and tanginess mirrors the plot really well, in that you're taking this ideal summer of teens hanging out and souring it with some real dark secrets. But I promise you, one sip and you'll be hooked. In at number 2 is fittingly Fulci's Zombie 2, which is straight grindhouse horror with a nice Caribbean flair.
Ahoy there! This is the Harbor Patrol. Anyone on board?
The reason I really enjoy this film is that you get this stark contrast between a beautiful sandy beach and some rotting zombies emerging from the sand.
Voodoo's just superstitious horse.
Now, whatever it is, it makes the dead stand up and walk.
One of the film's most interesting scenes has to be zombie versus shark. What's cool about this story is that Ramon Bravo wasn't even supposed to do the scene, but was asked to the day of, and essentially held his breath underwater the whole time while fighting a real live shark. To be fair and even out the handicaps, they did tranquilize the shark, so he was a bit drunk. Drinking a mojito immediately takes me back to my first Caribbean trip, and I remember being about 10 mojitos deep when I thought it was a great idea to join a bunch of locals and go snorkeling with sharks. I didn't really wrestle any sharks, but I did end up real sick, and I did look like one of the zombies from the film. All right, so here's to never having to wrestle a shark. Okay, I'm digging this one a lot. So this one tastes excellent. It kind of tastes like an actual mojito in that you're at the bar and someone's muddling some mint and throwing in some lime. I like that it's simple. I like that it's not overtly sweet. This is absolutely delicious, and I would buy a few more of these. So mojito comes from the root word mojo or mojo, which means to be placed under a spell. So essentially, this is straight voodoo in a can.
So whatever it is, it makes the dead stand up and walk.
In at number 1 is Jaws.
Smile, you son of a...
Jaws is so scary because it was just so real. It instilled this pervasive fear of going to the beach and being attacked by sharks. Now, this did horrible for tourism, but it did kind of lay a template for the animal-focused feature creature type of horror film. And it gave us Shark Week to re-educate us about sharks, which I am immensely grateful for. But most importantly, I'm going with Jaws because everyone's drunk and everyone's drinking everything. You got beer, apricot brandy, whiskey, and of course, some wine.
I had a little drink about an hour ago, and it's got right to my head.
So for this pairing, I'm going with Basque red wine sangria with a touch of blood orange. This one's for my boy, Martin, who loves pouring a heavy glass of wine. Why not empty the entire bottle into a single glass? In this case here, you just have a can, open it up, you don't even have to let it breathe. So let's see if there's blood in the water. Oh, okay. From someone who does enjoy a red wine, the red wine is super prevalent in the profile, but there's also like this spritz and a bit of like berries, a little bit of a tart element. And I like that, again, you can tell by now, I don't like sugar. 0 sugar in this, so we don't get any of that sweetness, which in my mind, I'm gonna tell myself is gonna prevent hangovers. Whether you're lounging poolside, camping, hanging out at the beach, or watching some bloodbath under the stars, I hope that I've offered you a new variety of cocktails that are super delicious to choose from and help graduate you from Mike's Hard Lemonade and Smirnoff Ice. That's it for this episode of Horror on the Rocks on RUE MORGUE TV. Again, I'm Mike from Whiskey Morgue. Remember to like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you're drinking, let me know what you're watching, and as always, stay spooky and remember to let the blood and booze flow. Cheers. But being stung to death while on the shitter with your knees around your pants has to be the absolute worst. So, did I say pants around your knees?
instead of knees around the pants.
Wow, I said I did the dyslexic version. Okay.
One for the win.
Yeah.